thing that everyone in this chapel wants to be? What is the one thing that every one of our parents, and virtually every parent in the world, wants for their children? It's happiness. We all just want to be happy. But what does that mean? What is it that makes us happy? This question came to me this summer when I spent 5 weeks in Tanzania. Good morning, Mr. Kidd, Father Jason, faculty, and students. Today, I want to start by telling 2 true stories that happened during my time in Tanzania. About 2 weeks into the trip, at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro, we were on a walking tour of the village of Morongo. Our guide, a former resident of Morongo, told us a lot about the village. He talked about the history of the place, the jobs held by the people living there, and the extreme poverty suffered by the people. At lunchtime, we sat under a wooden awning and each took a boxed lunch provided by our hotel. I opened mine and took in what I was presented with: a raw carrot stick, a leg of chicken, and a baked potato. I picked up the carrot, unwrapped the plastic, and was about to take a bite when someone behind me screamed. Sarah, a fellow traveler, had dropped her lunch on the ground and was about 10 feet away, looking horrified. 5 cockroaches were squirming and crawling all over her food. I could barely believe what I was seeing. We soon learned that she wasn't the only one with a bug-infested lunchbox. However, our tour guide quickly replaced these with lunches closer to our standards, and we all sat down to eat. As usual, there was a group of local kids playing nearby and watching us when we had lunch. We had come to expect the following of children wherever we went. After all, it's not every day that 28 Mzungus, Swahili for white people, enter these kids' territory. Wherever we went, 10, 20, 30 kids would trail behind us. They would be kicking a ball, or throwing a ball, or just laughing and playing. This time, however, they weren't just here to look at us. They were just as spirited, cheerful, and happy, but this time it was different. When we had finished eating, we put our garbage and uneaten food back into the box we had gotten our lunches from, and met in a group on the dirt road. We were loitering, waiting for our tour guide to take us back to our campsite. The guide picked up the cardboard box we had just filled with our garbage and carried it over to the group of kids that had been following us all morning. He had barely set the box down on the ground before 30 kids or more were attacking it. These children, none of them over the age of 10, ripped the cardboard apart, foraging for the leftover food. Mercilessly, they would scraps at each other's hand, fighting for a half-eaten potato or a bone of chicken. These kids were desperate for the scraps of the lunch that we had deemed not good enough. Another day, later on the trip, the other students and I volunteered at primary school in Moshi. The principal invited us to go in groups of 5 or 6 into classrooms and play with the students. With 4 other kids, I approached the Year 3 classroom. What I saw was a room filled with 15 or 20 students, but no teacher. Every kid was on the edge of their seats, straining their necks to get a good look at us. When we got in the classroom, they clapped and cheered, and we introduced ourselves. We played catch, name game, hangman, and dictionary. The class made it happily with our teacher for over an hour and was friendly and welcoming to us and our awkward attempts at entertaining them. I came to understand that there were simply not enough teachers in the area to put one in every classroom. The few that the school was able to employ rotated through the grades and taught each class for a portion of the day. Despite the fact that for the majority of the day, they sit in a room with 15 other kids and do nothing, these children put on their uniform and come to school every single day, understanding the importance of any education they can get. When I think about the kids that I encountered during my time in Tanzania, it's hard not to think about what they didn't have. They didn't have enough food, they didn't have enough teachers, and they didn't have enough money. But from what I can tell, that's never what they were thinking about. They lacked so much by our standards, and yet they were still some of the happiest kids I've ever seen. Something I heard from the locals many times when I was touring, was a phrase familiar to most of us. It's not only a catchy song, but it's a real expression lived by in the area. As our friend Simone and Puba taught us at a young age, Hakuna Matata, it really does mean no worries. It's a worry-free philosophy. In Tanzania, this expression is used often and appears to be incorporated into the way of life. From what I can see, this approach to living plays a big part in the apparent happiness of the people I encounter while traveling. So I'm not here today to lecture you about the many big places in the world that battle poverty. I'm not telling you to give up all your material goods in the name of helping others. Just understand that things like having the newest iPhone or name brand keys aren't central to your happiness. That brings us back to my initial question. What makes us happy? If it isn't nice clothes and material goods, then what is it? It could be many things. It could be your family, helping others, the satisfaction of working towards a goal, playing a sport, or it could just be a good laugh with a friend. Once you find whatever it is, appreciate everything it can do for you. Spend time with the people or the activities that bring you this happiness. What makes you happy is different for all of us. My challenge to you is to think about what it is that makes you truly happy. Thank you.